We're diving deep into the Ereshkar Continuum today to look at something truly terrifying: the tragic history and cosmic return of an ancient civilization known as the Jedge-Akah. Now, this isn't just your standard story of monsters lurking in the dark. It's a really complex history of an empire that lost absolutely everything, made an unimaginable bargain just to survive, and has now come back to collect on a very old, very dark promise.
Okay, let's jump right into this ominous reality with a quote directly from their war doctrine. "We do not seek to rule. We are sent to consume, to order, to break, and to leave only EchoNox's truth." Notice the language there? They don't want territory. They don't want to govern. Their entire operating mandate is literally just to consume, break, and impose order. We're dealing with a force driven by absolute obedience and a deeply ingrained, almost religious military doctrine.
Section 1. Masters of Planet Urikesh.
To really understand their terrifying modern-day return, we've got to travel back to the height of their ancient majesty. The Jedge-Akah were this incredibly sophisticated, warlike civilization native to planet Urikesh, over in Sector 9. Beneath their super brutal stone and bone architecture was an empire that had completely mastered dimensional resonance and portal creation. In fact, for them, advanced technology and high-level sorcery were basically the exact same thing. You couldn't tell them apart.
Section 2. The Sythkari War.
But, no empire lasts forever. The Jedge-Akah ultimately met their match when a rival force called the Sythkari showed up from another sector, and the Sythkari had vastly superior weapons, physiology, and tactics, stuff the Jedge-Akah had just never encountered before. It was a centuries-long collapse. What started with their fleets being totally shattered and their great stone strongholds falling eventually turned into a desperate hunt. The surviving bloodlines were relentlessly tracked down, which reduced this once dominant civilization to a scattered remnant that basically faded into meth.
Section 3. The Eternal Abyss Covenant. Facing total extermination, the surviving Jedge-Akah sorceresses abandoned their old light traditions and made a horrific choice. They struck a dark bargain with a force they called the Eternal Abyss. Now, the absolute crucial point here is that they never actually died. This covenant forced their biology into a near-arrested hypometabolic state, so their biological turnover slowed almost to zero. Their tissue functioned way beyond normal limits, but their cellular repair was incomplete. This is exactly why they look so desiccated, calcified, and literally corpse-like today, despite actually being fully alive. Imagine just waiting in the dark for centuries. They endured in this permanent state of biological decay, locked away in buried chambers, sealed structures, and forgotten dimensional folds across Urikesh, while the rest of Sector 9 entirely forgot they even existed. They were just waiting for the terms of their ancient covenant to be fulfilled.
Section 4. The Preserved Military Hierarchy.
When this empire finally woke up, they didn't rise as a bunch of mindless beasts. They came back as a heavily disciplined, highly organized army. Ahead of the main force, you've got the elusive scouts, acting as eyes and ears. But the front line? That belongs to the soldiers. Bearing the severe calcified damage of their long dormancy, they are still incredibly lethal. They've got this obsidian metal armor woven directly into their corrupted flesh. These are shock troops, designed for breach tactics and close quarters domination. They show absolutely zero mercy.
Moving up the chain of command, we find the sorcerers. They carry the ancient covenant's ritual knowledge. Wielding these massive staffs and channeling brilliant void magenta energy, they act as war mages who shape portals and field corruption. Remember, for them, technology and magic were never separate. By binding enemies and channeling all this ambient corruption, they bring an esoteric, super unpredictable layer of danger to the battlefield.
And finally, the general. Their presence on the field proves this isn't just random violence. It's a highly coordinated campaign led by brutal tacticians settling some very ancient grudges. Armed with a massive command spear and draped in the sigils of authority, the general directs troops and dimensional warfare with just cold, calculating precision. Basically, when a general steps onto the field, it means the Jedge-Akah have stopped testing your defenses and have begun a coordinated conquest.
Section 5. A False Awakening.
So, fast forward to the present era in the Ereshkar Continuum. A dimensional sorcerer named Iridescynth actually discovers the mechanism to awaken this forgotten empire. He pulls them right out of their hidden temples, treating this legendary ancient force like nothing more than a newly acquired asset.
He places them under the command of his field operator, EchoNox, intending to use them as heavy military support for a much larger campaign, using EchoNox's sigils to basically fake his authority over their war hosts. But here is where we hit some massive, terrifying, dramatic irony. The summoners think they own the Jedge-Akah. EchoNox believes he's just been handed an army, and Iridescynth totally believes they are serving his will. But the Jedge-Akah, they view their servitude as strict religious obedience to their ancient pact. They still have their own memories and doctrines. They are obeying because their covenant demands it, not because Iridescynth is actually their master. Which brings up a really terrifying question about the original bargain those ancient sorceresses struck centuries ago. Think about it. If they aren't ultimately serving Iridescynth, whose will are they actually manifesting?
Section 6. The Maw's Dark Design.
The entity that answered their desperate plea centuries ago wasn't just some localized dark magic on Urkesh. The Eternal Abyss was actually a direct connection to the Maw. And the Maw is this terrifying pre-creation force of cosmic negation. It doesn't want territory, it doesn't want worship. Its sole purpose is the total undoing of created existence itself. Iridescynth thinks he's the puppet master here, but he's completely unaware that he's really just a vessel, a pawn playing out a cosmic horror design much, much older than he can even comprehend. So, I'm gonna leave you with this chilling thought to ponder. Are the Jedge-Akah truly just a resurrected army? Or are they actually the first biological symptoms of a universe being slowly unmade by them all? Keep questioning the reality of the Ereshkar Continuum, and until next time, stay curious.
I was light.